Hey, this is Andy Brown from the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp, bringing you another video. And this time we are going to look at hopefully implementing some of these actions here, but we keep detouring with refactors. I do think it's useful things that we should be doing, but let's try to get these things hooked up. So the last one we were looking at was at the reply. And that's what happened when I was in here. I thought, well, this is quite messy. I can't see what I'm doing. And that's why we went about uh, uh, fixing that stuff up. So in here, we should have an endpoint for replies. I don't know if there's any other way to manage routes. Actually, just give me 1 second. Sorry, I was just looking up if there was a way for us to refactor this further, just because I'm kind of tired of all these routes being in a single file. I know I said we would focus on implementation here, but we do have, we're starting to get quite a few routes. And it's a bit of a headache to scroll through all this stuff. So what I would like to do is see if I can break this up into separate files. And so maybe what we can do is make a new folder in here called routes. You could call it controllers as well. Like in Rails, it would normally be called controllers, and then routes would point to these type of actions here. But the route and the function are grouped together, and so I don't see those being separated out. So I'm just going to call this routes, and in here I'm going to have one for let's just say, because we have the users activities, things like that. I'm just trying to think how I'd group these together, because we have those home feeds and things like that. So and there's a lot of stuff under activities. So I'm going to make a new file here called activities. And this is just an experiment to see if we can do this, because I'm not 100% sure. And so what I want to do, I'm just going to split this over, is I'm going to take these activities. And there's plenty of activities here. And I'm going to cut this out here and paste this in here. Also, I'm going to make a new file in here called helpers.py. And what I want to do is just take this model JSON function and paste it in here. And then in my lib, I can just go lib helpers. And then this would be model JSON. And now I can just take this function out of here. And my thought was just to take all those notifications and place them over there. So I just want to make sure that that will work. And yeah, it looks like it does. Well, I mean, like the fact that they're out of there, we need to now load that file. So I'll just say import. We'll go over to our routes here, activities. So import routes.activities. And so my question is, can I just have these here? Because where this is imported, the app is not yet defined, so I don't know if that would actually work. But I'm hoping that it just does. That'd be really nice. There are some things that we need to have here. So we need to have our request, our G here, our Flask. So those are some basic things that we're going to want to have here. And then for these imports, we need to have specific ones. So we need our home activities here. And we need our notification activities. I know they're not being used in here, but I'm just going to move them over because it will error out if we don't have them. Anything with the word create in there. And our search activities. And I don't want to forget our show activities down below here. Okay, and so I don't know if we need those. I'll just bring those over just in case. The X-ray recorder could be being used, but we're not right now. But I will go ahead and bring that over because it is being, it looks like we were using it at one point in these services. So just in case you decide to enable it, I want to make sure that those are there. And I'm just going to take that comment out. We don't need that. App.logger. We need to have the app. So I'm just going to go over to somewhere where we've used that. Was it X-ray? No. Rollbar? Yes, right up here. So bring that here, and I will bring that in as well. And so hopefully that just works. Now, I don't know if that will work, but again, this is an experiment to see if we can just import it that way. It's possible that we might need to wrap this all in a function or change where the imports is. I think the imports need to be at the top. But let's go over to over here, and we'll just check our logs. Go view logs here. I just want to see if there's any kind of error. So it says working outside the application context. So this typically means that you've attempted to use functionality that needs to be in the current application. To solve this, set an application context as in with use app context. Now we actually did try using that before and we ran into some trouble. That's with this here. So it's possible that what we can do is just do this, and that will resolve that issue there. But yeah, over here, we tried to initialize that, and that simply did not work, which was quite frustrating. Also, I don't know if we even have to do with app context here, because at this point, the app is over here, and it should work, but maybe there's something else that I'm missing. But anyway, now the application is not complaining. So, or at least I don't think it is. We'll go give this a refresh. And it still says this is out of context. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a down and then do an up, okay? So we'll go do composed, well, we'll just do a compose up. Maybe that will just work. Because I think that once the app is launched, it can't get the context again. Maybe, I don't know. But we'll see if that resolves the issue. And we'll go back over here. We'll give this a refresh. And no data. We'll view the logs. App.py, line 31. Import route activities. So working outside the context, this typically means that you're attempting to use functionality that needed the current application. To solve this, set an application context with app.appContext. I'm doing that. So, because you can clearly see me doing that here. But let's go take a look and see how this thing works. If you try to access current app or anything that uses it outside of application context, you'll usually get this error. Use app context with a with block, and everything that runs in the block will have access to current app. So let me just read this a little bit, okay? I'll be back in a second. All right, so I asked ChatGPT, and of course they want me to use blueprints and App Factory, which I do not want to use. Again, it's because I look at the complexity of those tools. Also, what are my migration paths out to microservices, and I don't want to use them. But what's interesting is they threw the import down here. Now, I didn't think that you could do that. So maybe that is the solution. It kind of feels weird to me because I like putting imports and everything at the top. But again, maybe in Python, that's something that's okay to do. So what I'm going to do is just put this under here. Okay. And maybe we don't need this app context anymore. Not that we've had any luck with that anyway. And so what I'll do here is I will go ahead and do a Docker compose up, and we'll see if it will take that. So I'm just going to go over here. And again, someone that might be very experienced with Flask might be cringing, but the point is that I'm trying to just get this to work and to work this in a certain way. This means that you have attempted to use functionality that needs the current application. To solve this, set an application context. Well, buddy, we did that and you weren't happy with it, but we can go back and put it in here and see if that might resolve it in here. But maybe because the import's down here, that'll be less of a problem. Yeah, because it's there. I'm just going down here. Yeah, the app.dot runs down there. Okay, so we will go ahead and try this again. Do compose up. And we'll see if it just needs that context to fix that issue there. It's really not taking it here. Now, the other thing that ChatGPT suggested, which is we could import, like the way they did it is they go ahead and they import the routes from here. So the idea is that that's your main route file. Yeah, I don't know. Let me just play around with this and I'll come back with a solution. I just kind of want to break that up because I think it'll make it a bit easier for us to find where we are. And there's just a lot of routes already. So I'll be back in a second. All right. So I like how they're like, if you insist to not use blueprints, this is another thing. And so this was another thought that I had, which we could put it in a function. And so probably that's what would work. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that just because it's the simplest thing. If you do find, anyone who's watching, if you do find a better way to do this, where we don't have to use blueprints and factories, I'd love to hear it. But what I'm going to do is just go here and make a new function that just says like load routes. Or maybe just load. And then from here, I can just go routes, activities, and then we can just get rid of this here because apparently that's not working correctly. And I'll go here and type in app. I don't know if these requests and these other things should still work, but I hope that they do. But I can just go here and do app. And so maybe this is just another way that we can load our routes. You know, not the most elegant way of doing it, but you know, this isn't Ruby. We don't get a lot of magic. Ruby, you can make things very concise and compact. I talk about Ruby a lot in this course, as you already know. But you know, I'm just trying to get you the skills that are in demand, even if I don't think they are the best options for building web applications. And so we're going to do a Docker Compose up here. And hopefully this will work this time. Module routes has no attribute activities. Did you mean activities? It's possible I spelled something wrong. So here we have routes activities. Is that spelled wrong? It sure is. I spell that one wrong all the time. That's a hard word for me to spell, and we'll do compose up. I regret using that word, but it's too late. I'm not going to go rename them all now. And we'll go back over here. It's still not running. We'll go to view logs. Module object is not callable. Line 34. Now, I know ChatGPT keeps asking for this init file. If they say like, even if it's empty, they say that so you know it's a module to import. I don't know if you have to do that with the new Flask, because I was reading that that's not necessarily true with the latest version. But maybe for backwards compatibility, you should do it. But we haven't been experiencing any problems here, of course. Here it says module object is not callable. Why not? Well, I'll just go here and say activities. Oh, you know what? That makes sense, because I'm being silly. So this would just be load, right? And we'll try this again. Okay. And so now what I want to do is I want to go back over here. Come on, just take it, please. JWT required is not defined, and that makes sense because we didn't import it over there, possibly. So where's our JWT required? It's right here. So we'll go ahead and grab that. And this will be for our decorators. This will be our services. Flask. And then just general. If you're wondering how I've been organizing that this entire time. I really hope this refactor pays off, because we are spending a lot of time here. And I'm supposed to be wrapping up the app. But, you know, I just want to try to organize things in some neat way. We'll give this a nice refresh here. Still not working. Now what does it want? Cross origin is not defined. Of course it's not. So we'll go here. This is also a decorator. So we'll go here. And we'll do compose up. We'll go back over here, and finally it's running. Can we refresh this? Ah, the routes work, so we can subdivide that way. Okay, and so that now means that I can take out these, like home activities. I just want to make sure these are all being used. Home activities. I think they are. So notification activities, search activities, create activity, user activities, show activity. And so that's going to Shorten that quite a bit. I'm going to go save that, go back over here. No errors, good. We'll go over here. I'm going to make a new file here called users.py. Maybe this will be user-specific things. And so what we can do is bring over that. So we have this user short. So I'll bring that over here. We have the update profile. So we'll cut that out and place this in here. There is also, I mean, we do have other things. I'll go here, users. And so this is where you kind of can split the hair and say, okay, well, should users activity be over there? Where's the profile page? Did we bring that over here? Update profile. We must have that page. Well, that'd be users right here. So I guess that's a user specific page. So I think I would like to take that and bring this over here instead. That's just kind of my personal preference because it's user specific. And then we'll go down here. I'm trying to find user activities. Whoops. Here it is. We'll go ahead and cut that out. And then we'll bring it over here. And you know, again, I don't know if this is going to make things easier, but I'm taking a bet here and seeing if it's going to work. So that one will be removed. Okay, just a bit itchy there. Which ones did we bring over? Update profile. The short has been brought over, so we'll bring that over. And there's the update profile. Okay. So we have this one, and then we'll have users load, and then I'm going to have messages load, and we'll have those all three separate. So I'm going to make a new one here. It's just say messages.py. I realize we didn't finish everything here, but like all the imports, but I'm just trying to get this a bit more organized. Messages, create a message. So then we can grab all of these here. Just cut that out, paste that in. Bring this up here. Okay. And so here, like we have the health check, we have that roll bar test. Maybe there's these other things. We can leave these top level if we want. We could also create a new route for it. I'm not sure what I would call those, but they aren't really cluttering the apps. I'm not too worried about them. I guess we could do one. Just have like a general. Or, you know, like these are all for debugging technically. So this would be debugging. Or I'm going to go general. I'll just say file new general.py. And I guess we can just kind of clean this up. So we'll grab this here, paste it in. Go to the top here, we'll say def load, we'll pass an app as the context. And yeah, I think, well, I don't know. We'll just leave that here for now, but because this isn't exactly a route, this is more something that just happens after a request. I don't even know if these after and current things work, as we found out this app context clearly does not work. And it doesn't really need to get the app context because the context of the app is right here. So I'm not exactly sure what to do about that. Rollbar does get called somewhere. I think it's in the general here. So technically, that could cause us an issue. But I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know, I'll just leave that there for now. We could assign like that rollbar to the G and then we could access it everywhere, which might be a good idea. So I know we do that somewhere in our application here. So maybe instead of doing the current app, we can do it this way. And I'll just take the context out because apparently that doesn't work how we want it to. And I'll go into the lib directory of rollbar. And well, first I'll check how we did it for this one here, because I know we did a G on this to assign it. G period. Well, that's not easy to find. I don't remember what we assigned here. I just know that it's, it's here. It was like JWT something. Let me just scan this quickly, okay? It is what I thought. It's just G equals whatever you want it to be. So, or at least that's what I think it is. We'll go back over to rollbar and do the same here. So we would have to make sure we import G, so that works. We'll go over to rollbar and I'll just put G on here. And so what we can do is then just say G rollbar equals rollbar, and then we'll be able to globally access that value. And so in our general, even though we're not using it right now, it does get imported there, or at least not in there, but if we go over to here, then we can import the G. As such, and then we can call g.rollbar on this. I know this indentation's off here. And so that will hopefully fix that issue there. But we just have to keep refactoring here. So yeah, so this is a lot cleaner. Initialization should probably happen before routes. Load routes. We do have this CloudWatch thing. This could end up in the CloudWatch code, maybe. Let's go here. I'll cut this out and just paste this in here. Okay, and so that is, I think, easier to read. We'll go up here and do general, and then we have messages. If you want, you could put this in alphabetical order, and I just don't care, okay? I'm not that too worried about it, but we do need to make sure that all of our imports are correct. So we'll go over to our general here. And I don't see it using OS or system. So I think that's okay. I think somewhere here we must be using system if we're importing it. Apparently not. Are we using OS anywhere here? I don't even think we're using these two. So I'll take these two out of here. Are we even using capital FLSK here anywhere? No, so we can take that out as well. But we'll go over to, so we're not using any of those either. There's no services there, so that's fine. We'll make our way over to messages. So we should probably just grab all the decorators here because most likely, well, we don't need, do we need cores here? Yeah, we probably do need cores here. So we'll grab this and place this at the top. I'll definitely want this. So grab that and place this at the top. Actually, I'm surprised these imports worked here because the routes are over here. It didn't error out, but I guess maybe it's looking from the root of the project. So that's great if that is just working. So that's pretty cool. But I was just thinking, I'm surprised that didn't error out. But yeah, we'll go back to our app.py here. And I want to bring these imports over. So we have message groups, messages, and create message, and I guess all these ones here actually. And so we'll go down here and I'll just paste those in. And so these are services and these are our decorators. I like doing two. I don't know why. Probably doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll just put that there for fun. Okay, and then we go to our users. And so we have our services, 1, 2, 3. Yep, there's only 3 there. And we'll just bring all that. And so hopefully yeah, you prefer this organization. I don't know, it's just what we have. You know, one thing I think that would be nicer is if these were more like this, because we're usually not importing more than one thing. So I think I'd rather be more explicit here than doing a wildcard. I think I just didn't know really imports at that time. So I think that's why I did it that way, but we'll do that and hopefully that doesn't error out on us. So I'm just going to go here so we can explicitly see what we're importing. Message groups, messages, create message. Where's create reply? Create reply. That wouldn't go here. We wouldn't do our reply here because that would be probably activities. We'll go over to activities. So do we have create reply over here? We do. So this import should actually be over here. And it didn't copy correctly. We'll just cut this out and paste this as such. Now, even this the services directory, if we really wanted to, we could reorganize it. Again, this is getting a bit silly, but we could make it called like activities, users, messages, but I'd rather just have it flat, to be honest. Right now, we're not really having too much trouble with that directory, but this stuff, I think, will make it a little bit easier for us to navigate, and because that file was just getting a little bit too large. We'll check out users here, so I think that is correct. So what I'll do is I'll do a Docker compose down. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll do a Docker compose up. And we'll wait for that to go up. So that is now up. We'll go over here. And of course, something's failing. That's totally fine. We'll go take the logs. Name app is not defined under what? Users. And we might have not had a load function for that. That might be our issue. We do. It's just that this indentation's wrong. So we'll go ahead and fix that. We'll do Docker compose up here. We'll go back, we'll check Docker here. Still not working, totally fine, not a big deal. No module name routes messages. Yeah, did I forget to put the load on that? In our app.py. Routes messages, did I name it wrong? Yes, I did. Okay, so I'll just hit the escape on this. We'll go back over here, we'll do a compose up. And we'll make our way back over to Docker here. We'll do a view logs. It says name app is not defined under message groups. Again, is there an indentation problem maybe? Oh yeah, we don't even have a load there at all. So def load app. And we will go back over here and do compose up. Okay, and so we now have that running. We'll go back over here. Not working just yet. Init rollbar takes 0 arguments. I don't think we passed it in there, so we'll go back over to our initializer for rollbar here, and we'll just pass an app here. Okay, and we will do another Docker compose up. You guessed it. Okay, and so here it's saying, oh, context issue, out of bounds. Where? What file? That's what I want to know. It's talking about rollbar with the G rollbar thing here. So, I mean, we do that here. We have the init rollbar. It says app up there. You know, what does it want from me? I mean, I don't understand why that's an issue because we did do that for the other file for the decorator. But I guess the decorator is a little bit different because of maybe how it's initialized. So let's just go over and check the decorator and see how that might be different. So in here, we have it implemented down below. And so what did we do to get that to work? There's this wraps thing, partial. What I'm looking for is there's some kind of like app context that I'm not aware of. Maybe it's this wraps. Maybe this wraps does something. Yeah, I don't know. But it's not complaining. So there must be something that's going on here that I'm not aware about. So another thing that we could just do is we could just pass in G. It's just like a way of cheating. And I mean, we do import the app up here. And I can get rid of the G here. It's probably not the best way to do this, but I'm just going to do it this way. I don't know if we can reference G on app, but you know, maybe we can do app.g. I just don't know. I'm not even going to try. We'll go down here and we'll say this is for roll bar. And I do believe we import the G, yes. Do we need cross origin anymore here? No, we do not, because we're not using it here. We don't need the X-ray as well, because those are decorators. Yeah, that's a lot more clean. Do we need this here? Probably not. No, we do not, because that's also initializer. This is our helper, which, by the way, did we add that to all of our other ones? Let's go take a look here. And this will just be loose down here, so we'll just say helpers, route helpers. I don't know what you want to call it. Because I'm sure that will complain at some point here. So I'm just going to place that here before that is an issue. Now, I didn't see that when we were utilizing this, but maybe we weren't using it for anything there. Anyway, so we'll try this out, and I'll just hit escape. We will do Docker compose up and see if it likes that. But yeah, when you're using these frameworks, you really want to avoid, again, they're things that are the systems they have. So I know Blueprints and App Factory sound really cool, but they just give us a chance of keeping very coupled to the application and making it hard for us to break off into stuff. Like I like Rails, and there's a lot of great things that Ruby on Rails does and Laravel. But again, I try to avoid any fancy features because I want to leverage more advanced architectures. I don't want to have a magnificent monolith, which is a term by someone on Twitter that I don't like too much. Anyway, so over here, we'll see if it is now working. Still not working. We'll view the logs. App.context is out of bounds for what? Rollbar. It's still complaining about the same area on rollbar, even though we passed in the G. You think it would just take it? It's going to go up here. So let me just play around with this and get it to work so you don't have to go through as many iterations with me here, okay? Actually, you know what? I'm going to really just simplify this. Sometimes we just got to keep things simple. And what I'm going to do is just go here and assign rollbar like that. And then actually just do G rollbar. Okay, and so that will solve our issue there. Or at least I think it will. So yeah, hopefully that is our solution. So let me go ahead and do Docker compose up. You know, I was just trying to make that nice and clean, but sometimes that just doesn't matter. And we will make our way back over to Docker here. It's still not running, that's okay. Now what does it want? Whew. It really wants that context thing. Sure, I will give you your context. There you go. Here's your context. Is that how that thing works? Oh, it's like with, right? With. Okay, so hopefully it will leave us alone and stop complaining about that. Compose up. There we go. It's running. Great. I'm going to still open the logs because I just don't expect this to work. Doesn't work. Oh, yeah, it does. And we're not logged in. So that doesn't mean we're not going to run into issues, but we'll just sign in here and see what happens. This is Andrew at exampro.co. Great. Looks like it's fine to me. So yeah, I guess we have another refactor video. I apologize, but I promise this is the last major refactor. I think that this will make things a bit easier as we are moving around these files and figuring out where stuff is, okay? So what we'll do here is, and we'll just say refactor the routes for Flask. Okay, and I'll see you in the next one. I promise we'll actually implement some features, okay?